When Jane and Elizabeth were finally alone, Jane, who had been quite reserved with her praise of Mr. Bingley earlier, couldn't hold back her admiration any longer. She turned to her sister and gushed, "He is exactly what a young man should be. Sensible, good-humoured, so full of life, and his manners are just perfect, so relaxed, yet so well-bred." Elizabeth smiled and added, "He's also handsome, which is another thing a young man ought to be, if he can manage it. That really completes his character, doesn't it?" Jane's cheeks flushed slightly. "I was so flattered when he asked me to dance a second time. I truly didn't expect such a compliment." "You didn't?" "Well, I did," Elizabeth teased. "That's one of the big differences between us, isn't it? Compliments always catch you by surprise, but they never surprise me. What could be more natural than him asking you again? He must have noticed you were about 5 times prettier than any other woman in the room. His gallantry had nothing to do with it. But yes, he is certainly very agreeable, and I officially give you permission to like him. You've certainly liked men who were far less intelligent, oh Lizzie," Jane said, half laughing, half protesting. "It's true, you're far too quick to like everyone you meet. You never see a single flaw in anybody. In your eyes, the whole world is good and agreeable. I don't think I've ever heard you speak a bad word about another person in my entire life." "Well, I try not to be hasty in judging anyone," Jane replied earnestly, "but I always speak what I truly think." "I know you do," Elizabeth said, her tone softening. "And that's what makes it so amazing. You're so sensible, yet so genuinely blind to the foolishness and nonsense in others. Pretending to be candid is common enough. You see it everywhere. But to be genuinely open-hearted, without any show or hidden motive, to see the good in everyone's character, and make it even better, while saying nothing of the bad, that's a quality that belongs only to you. And so, you like his sisters too, do you? Their manners certainly don't match his." "Not at first, perhaps," Jane admitted, "but they are very pleasing women once you get to talk to them. Miss Bingley is going to live with her brother and manage his household, and I think we'll find a very charming neighbour in her." Elizabeth listened in silence, but she was far from convinced. The Bingley sisters' behaviour at the ball hadn't been designed to win over the general crowd. Elizabeth, with her sharp observation and less yielding nature, and a judgment not clouded by any personal flattery, was not at all inclined to approve of them. The truth was, they were very fine ladies. They could be good-humoured when they were pleased, and could be perfectly agreeable when they chose to be, but they were fundamentally proud and conceited. They were quite handsome, had been educated at one of the best private schools in London, and each had a fortune of £20,000. They were used to spending more than they should, and associating with people of high rank. In their own minds, they were fully entitled to think highly of themselves and look down on others. Their family was respectable from the north of England, a fact they remembered much more clearly than the fact that their brother's fortune and their own had been made through trade. Now let's talk about Mr. Bingley. He inherited nearly £100,000 from his father. His father had intended to buy an estate, but passed away before he could. Mr. Bingley had the same intention and had even considered which county to buy in. But now that he had a good house and the rights to a manor at Netherfield, those who knew his easygoing nature doubted if he'd ever get around to it. They suspected he might just spend the rest of his life at Netherfield and leave the task of buying an estate to the next generation. His sisters were very eager for him to own his own property, but even though he was just a tenant for now, Miss Bingley was more than happy to be the mistress of his table. And Mrs. Hurst, who had married a man with more style than money, was just as willing to treat her brother's house as her own whenever it suited her. Mr. Bingley had only been of age for 2 years when a chance recommendation led him to look at Netherfield House. He spent about half an hour looking it over, was pleased with the location and the main rooms, believed everything the owner said in its praise, and rented it on the spot. Now, between him and his friend, Mr. Darcy, there was a very strong friendship, despite their characters being complete opposites. Bingley's easy, open, and flexible personality endeared him to Darcy, even though it was a stark contrast to Darcy's own temperament, which he seemed perfectly content with. Bingley had complete trust in Darcy's regard for him and held his judgment in the highest esteem. In terms of intelligence, Darcy was the superior one. It's not that Bingley was unintelligent. He wasn't. But Darcy was clever. At the same time, Darcy was haughty, reserved, and hard to please. His manners, though proper, were not inviting. In that respect, his friend Bingley had a huge advantage. Bingley was sure to be liked wherever he went. Darcy, on the other hand, was constantly causing offence. The way they each talked about the Meryton ball perfectly illustrated their differences. Bingley claimed he had never met more pleasant people or prettier girls in his life. He said everyone had been kind and attentive to him. There was no stuffiness or formality, and he felt acquainted with the whole room almost immediately. And as for Miss Bennet, he couldn't imagine a more beautiful angel. Darcy, on the contrary, saw a collection of people with little beauty and no style. He felt no interest in any of them and received no attention or pleasure from anyone. He admitted that Miss Bennet was pretty, but he added that she smiled too much. Mrs. Hurst and Miss Bingley agreed with Darcy's assessment, but they still admired Jane and liked her. They declared she was a sweet girl and someone they wouldn't mind getting to know better. And so Jane Bennet was officially established as a sweet girl, and with this stamp of approval from his sisters, Mr. Bingley felt completely justified in thinking of her as much as he pleased. What will happen next in this unfolding story of society, first impressions, and budding romance? Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next chapter. Thanks for watching.